In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
This is Mike.
And, well, we have some interesting news, I guess. We actually had, on our last podcast, which we had to take a week off, we had a personal issue that we had to deal with. In fact, it happened, we were informed at least of the personal issue while we were doing the podcast.
Yeah, so we decided not to air. It was kind of a big deal, personally, to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were about 20, 30 minutes into the podcast when Mike got some news that was very unsettling for him. And it was just like, no, we're done for the night. We're done for the week. Just do what you need to do. Take care of business. Everything is as good as it can be in the situation. Mike was not personally harmed in any of this, but it was still an emotional thing for him to deal with.
If I could, like, I would at least like to say something about it to kind of give a bit of a context to everybody. While we were recording, I was informed that a good friend of mine that I'd known for nearly 20 years, the better part of 20 years, her name is Adriana. I don't really want to give any more information from that, but she had passed away from a very aggressive form of breast cancer. And it was, originally when she had found out about it, it wasn't expected to be so aggressive. And I know her husband, who is a fucking incredible guy, who is going through hell right now with his kids. And I have, on more than one occasion, reached out and said, hey, I'm here for you if you need to be. But to be completely honest, like, I just like to, at least pay some kind of respects to her, at least on the podcast, because she was a fucking incredible person. She wasn't just a take no shit type of person either. Like, she would take no shit on behalf of her own friends. She always greeted me with respect and complete and total absolute friendship. I knew that she cared about me, and she cared about and absolutely loved everybody. And she was just an overall amazing fucking person. And I'm really, really sad to hear that she's gone. So absolutely fuck cancer. It left a pretty big hole. I feel like it left a pretty big hole in my life. Nowhere near as gaping as to her closest personal friends, of which I consider myself to be somewhat one of those. And even as a general good friend of hers over the last, 20 or so years, that was, I can only imagine how devastated the rest of her really close friends and family feel. And I don't know, not to bring things down like right out the gate, but that's honestly what happened. And I'm just trying to be honest. And it's a big deal, but
Well, and seriously, we're two guys here talking about this, but I'm going to say from my own personal experience, with having lost family from breast cancer and what it can do. Breast cancer is a nasty thing. Yeah. Women's, go get your boobs squished by the machine. Like, have them squished by dudes too, or other women's. That's cool. Whatever you want to do, have fun with that. But go to the doctor and get them squished by the machine. Not too often, because sometimes it's too soon, or you don't need to do it as often. But still, you feel anything weird, go see the doctor about that, because breast cancer is no joke. That's what my father's wife, who recently passed. Well, not so recently. It's been 7-8 months now. Yeah. But still, that's what she eventually died from, was breast cancer. It started as breast cancer. She had multiple surgeries. She had multiple chemo, all kinds of different medications that she tried, and still it is the thing that ended up killing her. So it's not a joke. Breast cancer is major importance. Obviously, there's a lot of media attention that is given to it, and rightly so, because of its importance. It's a killer, and it's especially here's the other thing: men can get breast cancer testosterone
Yes.
too, far more common in women.
Yeah.
But men can get it too. So men, make sure that you're checking. Make
Yeah.
sure you ain't got anything weird around your breast area.
Absolutely.
But again, it's killing women's, and we don't need that. We need more women's. We don't need less women's.
This is
anyway.
true, and we need more. Honestly, we need more incredible women like Adriana. So this was I consider this an incredible loss, and I just that's honestly where I sit with it. I'm still kind of dealing with it, still trying to like wrap my head around it. So
I can say I'm not sure. I mean, I know her husband to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't know me, but I know him. And
Yeah.
I probably saw her at one point in time in interactions that I had with him,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember. And she obviously would have no idea who the hell I was. But still, knowing him, I do feel for him. And also being a father myself, I understand that it's always a fear that you have that you'll be having to deal with that situation alone, that your partner will be gone from it, and it's never a reality you want to have to deal with.
Yeah.
I can say that one for somebody who over plans. I literally have probably 30 different plans of what I would do if I was faced with a similar situation. And I'm me, so I know I'd get through it okay. But still, it wouldn't mean that I wouldn't be completely destroyed inside. So I can understand what's going on. But anyway,
Yeah.
to get to something a little bit more interesting, we were, I don't even remember what all we were going to talk about last week, other than touching on the Ranty podcast. I don't want to go back to that though, even though that got 31 views, which is awesome because normally we get like one, if we even get one. So we actually got 31 views and this just speaking on the YouTube numbers. I'm sure that on podcast sites we may get something other than just like one, but on YouTube we got 31 views.
Yeah.
And now you did you found out there was some new YouTube thing that may be making this happen?
Very potentially. I don't know too much about it aside from the fact that YouTube has launched a podcast centric platform. I think it's youtube.com/podcast is where you could see it. So that's one of the places you could hear us now, I'm sure. I did search for the Xennial Chronicles to make sure that it showed up on the podcast page, and it's there. It's there. And podcast subscription is a thing too. And so if anybody out there who likes to listen to podcasts on the new YouTube platform, if you haven't already, check it out. And if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube. We're there.
It's nice to subscribe to us. It makes us feel good.
It does, really. It makes us feel
And
special.
I mean, we got on one side of the microphone, on one side of this thing, we got a Chuck Norris looking motherfucker. On the other side, we have I'm still looking a little bit like Jack Black, but not as attractive because he's about as fat as me now. So, needless to say, we need a little bit. I'm not saying that Jack Black or Chuck Norris are bad looking dudes. I'm just saying we could use the little uptick in our self-confidence by having people subscribe to us. It feels nice.
I mean,
anyway.
to be fair, nobody here is listening to the podcast is actually looking at us. So
true. They can, although I'm serious. I seriously do believe that they hear it and they go, "I know that one is a ginger and one is a fat dude. It's got to be." Possibly because I say it all the time, but also because I think that it just comes off that way.
This is that it could possibly.
So we are coming into you know what's funny? I haven't got the opportunity yet this year, and we're near the end of September. We're almost there. When this is actually October.
It will be October when this comes out. So
I haven't really had much of a chance to talk about football yet this year.
Interesting.
And there's a reason for that.
Are we going to go before we get into this? Because I feel like this is going to take up the entirety of what's going on.
I'm going to be relatively short with this.
Really? Okay. Because I feel like something's worth mentioning, but it's not football. I feel like something's worth mentioning, but it's not football. But I don't know how long it's going to take either. So, sir, you take the reins.
I'll do this football thing, and then we can go into your other mention thing.
Sure.
Does the other mention thing have to do with my new obsession that got forced on me?
Very possibly, yes.
Fuck berries. Well, here's the good news. Here's the good news about that. I got permission to say a word on the podcast. I got permission to say a word.
You got permission to say what word? Oh, should we go into football first, or should we?
We're going to talk about football first, and then I'll say the
and then
word.
We'll get okay.
I got permission
Okay.
to finally say.
Yes.
The reason I haven't really talked much about football, obviously we've had a few breaks in weeks and we've had other interesting things to talk about. And that's the important point here. We've had other interesting things to talk about. As a 49er fan, lifelong 49er fan, will only be a 49er fan. No matter how bad my team is doing, I am still a fan. So I can say that right now I am still a fan, even though my team is a freaking dumpster fire.
I've been hearing about this in my my weekend live gigs. I do live sound with I do live sound with cover bands, tribute bands, that kind of stuff. And believe me, I hear very much about what's been happening in the football season this year, and there is a lot of frustration on this side of the country. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, you have the quarterback who's supposed to be the quarterback of the future, right? His first game is like a monsoon. I think I mentioned that a little bit. A monsoon,
I think so, yeah.
3 freaking inches of water on a field that had just put in. They played on a Sunday. The field was put in on a Thursday. Bermuda grass put in on a Thursday. It is a monsoon to the point where the numbers, the paint that's on the field to show the yard lines and the numbers and shit, washed off the field. They had to the broadcast had to put digitally superimpose the numbers on the field because they washed off the field. That is how bad this rain was. And of course, the 49ers end up losing that game because their offense doesn't do anything, and their defense was being really stupid and making dumb mistakes. Every time they had the other team at third down, they had stopped the team on third down. They made some kind of a stupid penalty, not even directly connected to how they stopped the Bears on third down. Not even connected to it. And the Bears kept going and ended up winning the game. So then you get to the next game, Seattle. First time we play Seattle without Russell Wilson. I'm thinking, finally we have a chance against Seattle without frickin' Russell Wilson doing his crazy, stupid Russell Wilson crap. Niners win that game.
Okay.
But Trey Lance ends up breaking his ankle during that game.
Oh.
Trey Lance being the quarterback, that's the quarterback of the future, he breaks his ankle, which, I mean, it can happen.
Looks like he's done
game.
For the season, right?
He's gone for the whole season. Yeah, he'll be back next season.
Yeah.
But he's gone for the season. Technically, he's out like 12 weeks, but there's no reason to bring him back in.
Yeah.
Unless the season's totally tanked, and then maybe bring him in for the last 2 games just to get some in-game experience while they're losing. So Jimmy Garoppolo, who was supposed to leave, and nobody wanted him because why? Well, I'll explain that in a minute. Nobody wanted him. Nobody signed him to a contract. He takes a lesser contract with a bunch of incentives the only way he gets the incentives is if he plays. So he takes a lesser contract to stay as the backup because no other team wanted him.
Okay.
Right? Nobody else wanted him. And it was like, people were like, why? Why don't people want him? He's a good quarterback. He's taken them to the NFC Championship game. He's taken them to the Super Bowl. Why doesn't anybody want this guy? Jimmy Garoppolo comes in the Seattle game, and he plays fairly decently, and they win the game. He doesn't play good. Okay. He plays fairly decent.
Okay.
They win the game. Why? Because the 49ers probably have one of the top 3 defenses in the entire league. Their defense has held opposing teams to almost no scores.
Okay.
Like nothing. Except for the first game was an oddity because they made so many penalties. But second game, almost nothing. Third game, almost nothing. In fact, technically in the third game, the defense held the opposing team, the Denver Broncos. Funny enough, we play Seattle without Russell Wilson. We go to play the Denver Broncos. Guess who the new quarterback for the Denver Broncos is? Right, Russell Wilson. So the 49ers defense actually holds the Denver Broncos to 9 points. They allow 9 points for that they score. So 3 field goals. That's all that Denver is able to score against the 49ers defense.
Okay.
The 49ers are able to barely score 10 points. Right?
Wow. Okay.
So hold on now.
This is game 3, right? Game 3?
Game 3, which was just this last weekend.
Okay.
Game 3, 49ers score 10. the Broncos offense. I'm being very clear about this. The Broncos offense scores 9 points. That's what the defense holds them to. Okay? The 49ers lost this game. Let me tell you how they lost it. Let me tell you how they lost it.
How did they lose it by scoring more than...
Well, the 49ers offense scored 10. The Seattle offense scored 9. Now, here's the funny part. The Seattle defense didn't score, or not Seattle. Sorry, I say Seattle, but because I'm thinking Russell Wilson, but it's Denver. Denver offense scored 9. Okay.
Okay.
Now you think, okay, maybe the defense scored. There was a pick six or something, or a fumble recovery. Somehow the defense scored. Here's what happened. Here's the end game. Here's the end game of this. The score ended up 49ers 10, Denver 11. Now, Mike, I know you don't know a whole lot about football, but do you know what can score 2 points?
Field goal.
Field goal is 3. Now, you can do a 2-point conversion after you score a touchdown, but like I said, the Denver offense scored 9 points. They had 3 field goals.
Hold on, wait a minute. So hold on 1 second. So you have, if you've scored 10, you've scored, touchdown is 6. And
then you do the extra point or a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
So normally if a team has 10 points, they've probably scored a touchdown, done the field goal done the extra point kick to get 7.
7, right?
And then done a field goal for 3 points. That's usually when you get a 10, score a 10. That's usually what's happened.
Yeah. Touchdown and a field goal. Okay.
How do you get a score of 11 when a team has scored 3 field goals?
Oh no! What penalty happened?
There's not a penalty that gives you points.
That gives you a point. How the hell do you score 11?
You score 2 points with a safety.
Wait a minute.
Safety is normally when you're, let's say you're backed up, you're the offense, you're backed up all the way to where when you hike the ball, you're running around in your own end zone.
Right.
Not you got like 90 some odd yards to go, right?
Right.
So you got the ball on your own like 1 or 2, whatever.
Right.
And if the quarterback is sacked in the end zone, that's a safety.
Right.
Now that would be defensive points. The defense would have actually scored 2 points.
Right.
And then the team that just got the team that just got their quarterback sacked, they actually have to kick the ball off to the opposing team. So you get 2 points plus you get the ball. It's an amazing thing to be able to do a safety. Safeties are awesome. Now, that's normally what happens is the quarterback gets sacked or somebody gets tackled in the end zone like that, and it becomes a safety. What rarely happens, is that the quarterback, when the quarterback is backpedaling after they get they receive the ball from the hike, occasionally they will step out of the back of the end zone. That is also a safety, and that is exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo did.
Hold on. Garoppolo backed up out of his own end zone farther past his end zone.
He went out of bounds. Yeah, he went out of bounds out of the end zone, out of the back of the end zone.
Trying to back up to throw? Like
Yeah. Just in his quarterback drop back. He backed out of the end zone.
How far? Wait, what yard line were they on?
They're like on the 1.
How many yards is the end zone? Isn't it 10?
10 yards.
How many yards do you need to throw the fucking ball?
I don't know, but apparently he needed more than 10 because he backed up out
more than 11, apparently. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he backed up out of the end zone, and so the 49ers offense actually scored because he wasn't tackled. The 49ers offense actually scored 2 points
for the opposing team.
Yeah, and that's how they lost.
He scored on his own goal. He scored on his own goal.
Jimmy Garoppolo was absolutely atrocious. Now he says, "Oh, I didn't practice with the team," which he didn't. Over summer, over all the mini camp stuff, he didn't practice with the team because they thought he was going to leave. But at the same time, it's like, dude, here's the thing. Even before he did that, as you're watching the game, and I was watching with my normal chat with my father, with announcer Scott, and with your friend that used to work at Guitar Center with you. And all we can see the entire game is, at one point I had to tell announcer Scott, who's been very angry all season with the way that things have been going.
Yes.
I had to tell announcer Scott, listen, man, what you're seeing today, the play you're seeing today, if Trey Lance, because he had been talking about how Trey Lance hadn't shown anything in the 5 quarters that Trey Lance had got to play this year before he injured himself, 4 quarters of which was in a freaking monsoon, and then he hurt himself. And he was so mad that he wasn't seeing anything from Trey Lance. I'm like, listen, what you did see from Trey Lance is he could have played this game at least as good as Garoppolo. He may have actually been better than Garoppolo, but he could have been at least this bad. And that's the thing is, this is Garoppolo on a normal day. If Trey can be as good as Garoppolo on a normal day and it be him still learning, that's the whole point. So being a Niner fan is very difficult this year. However, being a Raider fan is even worse because they haven't won a single fucking game yet. So, that's all I can say. But anyway, that's why there hasn't been much football talk, because there's not a lot to talk about. So it may be a shit year, and the bad part is the defense is fantastic. If I mean, literally, the defense had that game won. If Garoppolo doesn't step out of the end zone, it's a 10-9 game. The Niners win. It's like, why? Why did you do that? Why did you just don't walk back that far?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
That's why, even though we're near the end of September, we've had 3 weeks of football. I have not had much to talk about with football because it's just, I'm still watching. Hey, I'm still watching. I'm still wearing my gear. I'm still a fan for life. Doesn't mean I can't get really upset when my team does stupid shit and makes it really hard for me to be a fan. Still going to be one. Makes it hard.
Understood.
And I can tell myself, at least I'm not a Raider fan.
Oh my God.
I really hope that that our mutual friend who's a Raider, maybe hears this at one point. Raider fans. Anyway, so that's what I have to say about that. Do you want to bring up this other topic? I'll see if this other topic leads into my one word I'm allowed to use now. What's the other topic you want to talk about?
Okay, well, all right. So let's see. How long ago was it? How many days ago was it? No, it was back on, I believe, Saturday. Is that the case? It was a Saturday that you got a hold of me? Let me know what was going on. All right, so last Saturday, this was about 2 nights after we had to cancel. I was actually working my weekend gig, doing the sound guy thing, and I get a interesting text message from James concerning a couple of images. Huh?
Are you going to go back and read the messages?
I mean, not necessarily. I'm just going to paraphrase them, essentially. So I don't have to do that. I don't necessarily want to do that, but I can paraphrase them. So James starts sending me a couple of images of, I think the first one you said was like, well, shit or something to that effect. And then you started showing me images of. Hold on. Oh, now you're going to pull them up?
I am going to pull them up because
okay.
I want the full clarity of information.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Got to get through all the different detritus that has been sent over the past few days.
We send each other so much crap.
Speakers.
And this is all like, what was the date? Okay, so there's the speakers. There's the home unit.
Okay, let's see.
So quality content here. Quality.
That's the point of the. Okay, so you had just sent me the news about. The last thing you had sent me was the news about James Earl Jones stepping back from voicing Darth Vader. You were like the 4th or 5th person that sent that to me.
Yeah.
Like seriously, the second that went up, I had like everybody like
big deal, man.
Going
Huge
at
deal.
It. So are you up to that point yet?
Not yet, no. But I'm okay. Hold on. Okay, here's the suitcase.
Just keep scrolling.
All right, here it is.
Scrolling.
Okay, so we start.
Darth Vader?
Yep, I got to Darth Vader.
Okay, so the first message I sent is you at work. And your response?
My response was yeah.
All right, now I'm going to read this text exactly as it is, okay?
What?
I'm going to read it exactly as it is, because guess what?
You got permission, dude.
That's the word. I can say the word.
Oh, my God. Okay, here it goes.
I can say the word. So the message is, shit, dot dot dot. There's a lot of dot dot dots. There's a lot of what are those called? Ellipses. I do ellipses all the time in my conversations.
Yes.
That's how you really know it's me messaging you. If there's ellipses in it, it's James messaging you.
Yep.
Because that's what he does every time. I had to stop doing it at work because a lot of office culture. So there's a lot of emails back and forth. Like I have to have Outlook open all the time because I'm getting emails all day long about different things. Like check this account, check that out, know about this. Hey, check this out. So much of them.
Yes.
So much back and forth. So I had to stop putting ellipses in there because like it's a natural thing as I'm writing to do ellipses, and I'm like, no, period. Capitalize the next thing. You're in an office setting. You have to write properly. It's very. At the same time, there's also a chat feature in one of the programs that we use, so I can chat back and forth. So in the chat, I'm totally ellipses all over the place. But like in the emails, it's like prim and proper.
That's great.
It's like tuxedo in the emails, tuxedo T-shirt in the chats.
Oh, that's great.
So this message, shit. ... Okay, ... Sarah is tempting me. And for all of you who don't know,
yep,
Sarah is the unnamed wife that I've been talking about for like 3.5 years.
He has had me every time he has said it by mistake, he has had me quack it out.
I finally I told her about it after when I came downstairs after the last attempt at a show. And I told her what was going on and whatnot. And I told her about making sure that her name was never in. She goes, "You can say my name. It's all right. After all this time, it's fine." I'm like, finally, I'm going to do it.
Yay!
So,
that's great.
And I'll read this like, this is what the ellipses are supposed to do. Is supposed to like emulate the way I talk.
Right.
So I'll read this as I would say it. Shit. Okay. Sarah is tempting me. And then there's the first picture. What's the first picture, Mike?
Oh, am I describing it? It is a picture of Metallica's Master of Puppets, the Walmart exclusive limited edition in battery brick colored vinyl. And
then what's the next picture?
Oh, fuck the next picture. I immediately responded before you even sent a picture. I said, all caps, "Dude, load and reload sound amazing. Everything up to Black Album is remastered by Fidelman, and they all sound stellar." Now, for those who don't know, Greg Fidelman's who I'm talking about. He was their recording engineer for Death Magnetic, which famously, when it came out, sounded like hammered crap. Due to the loudness wars, if you want me to talk about that, I'll talk about that. But it was really bad, but the recording process was great. Rick Rubin is the guy that made it sound like crap, essentially. But Metallica picked up Greg Fidelman and were like, "You're awesome. You're coming with us." And since
I just want to add, since every time Rick Rubin and Death Magnetic and the butchering he did on Death Magnetic is brought up, I feel the need to always add the problem here is this is the first time Rick Rubin actually worked with a good band.
Oh my god.
And that's why he messed it up. I just need to say that.
I think
loud.
Rubin headlined Audio Slave's debut record too. And he worked with Johnny Cash. All the shit he did in the 90s
hold on,
and 2000s.
Audio Slave, I might change my mind in what I say. Johnny Cash, I maintain my position.
Really?
Fuck Johnny Cash.
Are you fucking serious? Wow. All right, I am shocked.
I've never liked Johnny Cash. So
wow, man, I've loved Johnny Cash. That guy had an attitude like a motherfucker. It was great.
That's okay. Rick Rubin did the Red Hot Chili Peppers' first major
he did. But
album.
He's done every release since. So he did Blood Sugar Sex Magic and like everything after that.
Which is why they all sound the same.
I mean, no,
did he work
Blood
with
Sugar
AC/DC?
was the shit. I think he might have at one point. No, that AC/DC is. I think AC/DC is. No, let's see. Mutt Lange is Def Leppard.
Yes, Mutt Lange worked with Def Leppard. He also worked with Shania Twain, so take that as you will.
Yeah,
and I mean he worked with Shania Twain.
Oh my god.
But anyway, we're getting
ahead. Yeah, we're tangenting too far. So then
I was just trying to rip on Rick Rubin. Okay.
Yes. Then he sends me. I was just trying
to rip on every other band.
More pictures. He sends me more pictures. He sends me a picture of Load, then Saint Anger, then Kill 'Em All, and Death Magnetics underneath it. You can see that. Yeah. Lovely, by the way, the Kill 'Em All Death Magnetic picture that you sent absolutely has your Crocs in the bottom of the picture. Which, dude, that shit looks like a your Crocs look like a 20-year-old's like bumper sticker riddled Honda or something. It looks
actually
from the blur of the picture, it just looks like it's completely smothered in bumper stickers.
It is actually. It's actually covered in gibbets. This is the left shoe of my Harry Potter Crocs.
Nice.
Which are fur lined. Well, not real fur, but like they're lined, so they're more winterized. But I just wore them that day because I was wearing I had gotten a new Herbology Harry Potter shirt. Which, interestingly enough, when I went to pick up pizza later that day, the person working the pizza place that was in their car, like on break, saw my shirt, just read the word Herbology, and thought I was a stoner. And was totally. Like, hey, that's awesome. And then I'm like, yeah, I love Harry Potter. Oh, I didn't realize it was Harry Potter. I'm like, fucking stoner? Of course. That guy with Herbology, you automatically think I'm a stoner too. Nope. But no, these are my Harry Potter ones. So each one of those gibbets are different Harry Potter characters. Both shoes are covered in the gibbets. They also kind of have like it's kind of almost that Real Tree style camo thing, but not entirely. That's the design of them. And they were one of the ones I found at like Ross or something for half price, and they were my size, so I snagged them. It wasn't something I picked out for the color, but then I thought it has a kind of tree look. That'll go with Harry Potter.
Okay.
But yes. Those were the pictures. Those were all of the as you said. What's your next message to me was
holy shit, are they all there?
I said just the ones I sent you, but I don't have a record player. Then I asked about the suitcase record player. We go through a whole discussion of it.
Yeah. Basically, long story short on this portion, I recommend to him, and I recommend to literally anyone. So this is based on when we went out and found. So my wife Tash, which I like do social media with her, so it's not really that big of a deal. So Tash and I stopped by Walmart after doing some work-related stuff for one of my jobs, and we stopped by Walmart because I have kind of a just a wild hair up my ass to go and see if we've got any of this. Now, these records that James is collecting, he's looking at right now, I have practically all of them. I actually have Metallica's entire discography. I eventually collected literally everything. I went absolutely apeshit. The first time I saw that they were doing the limited color edition records of like the big ones were like Garage Inc. and I think, let's see, Garage Inc. and Saint Anger and Load and Reload. I was like, oh my God. And then there were a bunch of the other ones too, like the remastered ones by Fidelman are everything before Load and Reload. So everything from Kill 'Em All the way through the Black Album was redone by this guy. And I loved his work. And I loved all of the work that he has done as an engineer. Like, you can hear how good he is. But that being said, when I initially started collecting these, I had an older record player. I had a Gemini DJ turntable, direct drive, which meant it was basically cream of the crop at the time. Super,
If I can interject for a moment.
What's up?
Also, when he started collecting these, he would regularly send me pictures of them.
Oh, yes.
And he was part of trying to tempt me into these. And now,
no, I wasn't trying to convince you to do it. I was just like so stoked on him, and I knew you'd be stoked on him. Like I knew you would look at him and be like, "Holy shit, these things look awesome."
They do. The coolest thing about it is the fact that it's not just standard black vinyl records. These are different colors. Some of them are somewhat see-through. I mean, there's and you know, you're sending them to me, and you can see the beautiful, vibrant, wonderful colors. So much more than just the old vinyl records that my parents had sitting around. Like, wow, this is something neat. But I was always like, you know, it's impractical. I'd have to find a place to put all these things. I already have most of my space taken up by freaking Star Wars crap. I already have all of these on CD or digital or whatever. This isn't practical. This is stupid. I would show them to Sarah. I can say your name. It's like it's almost like Voldemort, since, you know, tying the Harry Potter shoes.
Right.
I can say her name now. I mean, is she some, you know, dark evil presence? Not really. She's actually the joyful one. I'm the evil one, but whatever. Anyway, I would show her because, like, hey, these are kind of neat. She kept telling me, you should start collecting them. You should start collecting them.
Oh, she was the one pressing you, man. That's great. I said she was the one pressing you. That's great.
So you were talking about your top of the line record player. Sorry, go back.
Okay, yeah. What I had that I had perceived to have been, it was essentially pretty top of the line, but it was old. It was gifted to me by a friend. And I knew how good it was and how awesome it was, and I had spun a few records on it, and I loved how it sounded. But it needed a lot of extra stuff, right? So record players back in the day, you couldn't just hook up a record player to your stereo system and go. Like, your stereo system had to have a phono input, which was hooked to a special preamp and all this kind of stuff. This was one of those. That's why I'm talking about that. I'm not trying to get into crazy detail, but it needed one of those. So I had that. I bought a preamp. I was able to hook it to my sound system in my home studio and listen to stuff, and it was great. I had a great time. But then eventually what happened was, when I picked up Garage Inc., I listened to every... Look, man, I'm collecting the records, but I'm not collecting the records just so I can keep them in the damn wrapping. Like, I want to see the art. I want to open this up. Like, vinyl, like LP albums are an experience that is absolutely it is unmatched by CD and streaming media in all aspects. There's so much art.
I disagree. And
let me plead my case. Fuck? Okay. I am so confused by that. Okay, yeah, you're going to have to.
Because there was a time in the, I'm going to say mid-90s through to around the early 2000s, there was a time where a few bands really, really worked hard on their CD packaging, with the art in the CD packaging, with the art on the CD itself. There were a few bands that really, really went out there to try to, I mean, I'm talking like Tool's Anima album. That CD is an amazing CD. The way it's put together with a lenticular lens on the front and the various pieces of artwork that you can put into that lenticular lens and watch.
Isn't 10,000 Days like that too? Isn't 10,000 Days like that too? It's just absolutely nuts. Tool goes all out on their album art. They are one of the very, very few that do that, though.
Another example would be Pearl Jam. Their first album, 10, standard jewel case. You get to No Code, it looks like an old school record sleeve. Same with Vitology. They had
that's where they started doing the digipack stuff.
No digipack. I'm talking like they actually, if you have a copy of No Code, it opens up like a what do you call it? That has when it has the double albums and the record book completely opens.
You're talking. It's called a gatefold. That's the name of that, is a gatefold. Yeah.
No Code completely opens. In one side is the CD, and the other side is a little pouch, like a little sleeve. Basically, you pull the sleeve out, and it's got, for each song, it's got a different picture in it.
Okay.
Like no Code is, I mean, Versus, which was their second album, was still the jewel case. And again, if you were lucky, you got when it first came out, a version that was 5 against 1, which may have only been in cassette, but then they changed it to Versus. But no
Bro.
code, they did that. Vitology looks like it's like a distressed black look, like an old record sleeve. And this one you open up and it's got pages of a book in it, and then a little sleeve thing for the disc to go in. So there were some bands during the late 90s into the early 2000s, that even some of the ones with the basic jewel cases, but there were some bands that really worked on giving you an experience with the packaging. And even though Load and Reload came in standard jewel cases, there was a lot to those booklets. There wasn't just words in there. The pictures, the Rorschach style art, the Ninja Star, the Metallica Ninja Star emblazoned on each one of the discs. You know, there was some semblance of attempt to give you some of that experience. Not saying it's exactly the same, but there was a short period of time there where they were trying to emulate that as much as possible and make CDs have a similar experience to the record experience. So I won't say that it's I can't agree with you that it's never happened with CDs, but it is much more few and far between.
No, when so don't take what I've first off, don't take what I said. I said it is an unmatched experience. I didn't say that it didn't happen with CDs. And you are correct. Every example that you gave is what I would consider to be one of the exceptions to the rule. CD art was, however, very, very inspired, especially all of those artists that came out in the 80s, 90s that were doing that shit with CD art, especially in the 90s, the grunge, the beginnings of new metal acts, like that kind of stuff. Those guys were very inspired by artists of the 60s and 70s. And dude, I'm going to tell you what, late 60s, early 70s album art is absolutely ridiculous as an experience.
Oh no, they got good stuff in I mean, even
insane, dude. Led Zeppelin's physical graffiti by Led Zeppelin is one, and I know they're not a band that you really dig on, and that's but there's a lot of those experiences. Dark Side of the Moon, even fucking Jethro Tull did a greatest hits of their a singles collection that was a hardcover book with stories of the band, album art, and then 2 of the pages were for each disc of the vinyl inside. I actually have that copy. It is batshit. There was like slide art and pop out art and all this crazy, especially with like the psychedelic shit that came out in the 60s. Finding some of those older records that still look like that is nuts. Absolutely nuts. I am not going to say that CD art doesn't have the capability of reaching something ridiculously extravagant, but I will tell you that all of the examples that you gave me, Tool is the only one that actually broke that mold far beyond anything for CD art. Those guys are fucking insanely good at anything art wise. It's Adam Jones, right? Is he the guy who's basically behind album art, all that kind of stuff?
Yes,
he like directs the music videos and all that.
And he plays what? Is he the guitarist or the bassist?
I believe he's the guitarist because I think Justin Chancellor is the bassist. Adam Jones is the guitarist. Right. Dude, fucking amazing artist. Absolutely incredible artist. Very similar to he pulls the guy's his own machine. He is his own art machine. Like, he is fucking incredible. But he has some of the similar influences I see is from Sean Cran, the guy Clown from Slipknot. That guy's art is insane. But to see art style to that degree is just absolutely batshit, especially in such a large format. It's different opening the entire record book and doing that kind of a thing. And I thought it was great to even see, to be completely honest, even Saint Anger in a vinyl format is more enjoyable than Saint Anger in the CD format. And the triple fold that Saint Anger had with the DVD and stuff, which isn't even in this, was cool on its own merit. I personally think.
The Saint Anger CD was another one that kind of again harkened back a little bit to the feel of records, just not entirely, but a little bit harkened back to it. Same with Death Magnetic, with the fold out way that was set
the
up.
multi-layered layers of the what you see as the
Layers of
vagina
the
was
vagina?
actually what you see as the vagina is actually it's supposed to simulate the layers upon layers of dirt that go into a grave site.
Yeah, it's supposed to technically be shaped like a coffin, but I see a vagina, so that's just me.
I don't mind you. When you said it, I saw it. I was like, shit. That's not what it's supposed to be. But it totally still does look like that too. Let's be real.
Totally looks like a vagina.
But yeah, looking at album art, that kind of stuff, that's an experience on its own. But taking the disc, another thing, taking the disc, listening to 3 songs, flipping it over, listening to the other 2 or 3, depending. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. I've got, a lot of bands that have shorter songs, 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. You can fit 5 songs on one side, flip it and do 5 more. And so a lot of the time you'll get a 10-song album on one disc.
Yeah.
But, with bands like Metallica, hell no, dude. Their shit's like 7 minutes long on average.
Yeah, I mean,
no complaints there. I'm saying you're going to get 2 songs on one side.
Yeah, at the time that Load came out, it was one of the longest CDs ever produced, and they had to shorten the last song on the CD so that it would fit on the CD, because they maxed it out with like 78 minutes and so like 49 seconds or some shit like that. I think it was
59 seconds. It was 78:59, and the most that you could get on a disc at that. No, I'm sorry, 70. I think they were going beyond the just beyond, but they couldn't bring it farther than like 74 minutes or something like that. I think it's 70 when the CDs were first coming out. 72 minutes I think was the top, and it wasn't until like the late 90s, early 2000s you could finally get 80 minutes on a disc. But that is way more, like by almost double than what a standard album can get. You can get maybe, for proper fidelity, where you do not start losing like high-end response because the grooves have to be too close to each other and shit, like all this physical media stuff, you can get maybe on average 20 to 25 minutes per side on a disc. So if you're looking at, most albums that have between 8 and 10 songs, you're looking at between 3 and 5 minutes per song. You would have 4 to 5 songs on each side of an album. Most songs max out at maybe about 45 minutes. And when they start getting longer than 45 minutes, you end up getting fidelity loss on the record. That was a big controversy with the Thriller album. When they finally got the Thriller album completed and pressed, and they listened to the test pressing of the record, it was such low quality that they actually went back through and cut content out of multiple songs in order to get the album to get short enough to then be in a high enough fidelity on a vinyl record to make sure that the album sounded good versus was it long enough. That was a big deal with the Thriller album. Yeah, for sure. But that's the
beauty of this resurgent art form.
Yeah.
And way to ingest different media. And we know that I am a packaging whore to begin with. We know that I have thousands of DVDs, and I'm not exaggerating in the numbers of DVDs I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at probably 1,000 right now, and there's at least another 1,000 downstairs. So we have a lot of DVDs because that's, I'm a movie guy. I have a lot of different games and game systems because I'm not really a game guy, but I do like video games, so I have them, and I don't necessarily like as much. I've done more of the downloading games. I mean, I have a external hard drive for my my Xbox One that I've stored a lot of games on. So I don't have physical copies of them, and that's fine. But I am somebody who I do like physical copies of things. I love different media that has different things. I love special editions of things. I am one of those people. So it would seem obvious that I should have been collecting records from a while ago, but I never did. It was the one thing, mainly because, again, there's so many ways to listen to CDs, and I mean, most of my music I listen to now either watching YouTube videos while I'm working, just have music playing, or using one of the various iPods that I have, so digital. I have a huge CD collection, and we have hundreds, if not 1,000 DVDs, and most of those have been, I'm going to say, a good 60% of them, not all of them, but a good 60% have been transferred over to our iTunes account, mine and my wife's iTunes account, and put on our iPods so that we have that accessibility in our vehicles. We have vehicles new enough. She has a auxiliary port in her vehicle that she plugs her iPod into for her and the kids to listen to when she's doing her things. And then mine connects through Bluetooth because my Mini is awesome. So I'm able to listen to it that way. It's very convenient. I don't have to carry the CD books that I used to carry 3 and 4 CD books in my car, the CD visors. And I did carry them. I rigged it one time. My you remember my Sunbird, man?
Yes, I do.
It had a cassette player in it, and then I took a portable portable CD player that could plug into a cigarette lighter. I had to plug in to give it power.
Nice.
I plugged it into the cigarette lighter. I took a piece of Velcro, like sticky Velcro, put one side on the bottom of the CD player, one side on my dash, and stuck the CD player to my dash and used a cassette adapter in my cassette player. Cassette player, by the way, that was aftermarket that I paid to have added to the vehicle. It wasn't built into the vehicle. So I would use the cassette adapter to play CDs in my car with basically a Discman, not a Sony. I think it was a Philips Magnavox. But that's how I listened to CDs in my Sunbird, with my CD books in the back seat. So if anybody ever had to get in the back seat, they had to move the 2 or 3 CD books around to be able to sit, so that you had, you needed to have a music selection. Previous to putting the CD player in there, I had a thing of tapes in there. I missed the tapes; they disappeared. I actually had S&M, Metallica's S&M on tape, on cassette tape. I miss now not having it because it's disappeared.
Oh man, dude, I would kill to have that. And I have it on DVD, and I have it. I'm not sure if I actually have it on CD. I know I had it at one point, but I think I just wore it out. But I would kill to have that one on cassette. There's a couple of them I still want on cassette. Like, even though, like, one of the big ones that I picked up that I finally got. Oh my god, yeah. Going back to what I was talking about and why all this, what I was talking about, the old record player and shit, was that I ended up just eventually getting rid of that DJ record player because there was so much that happened. When I first bought the Garage Inc., the first thing I did was I pulled out disc 3 side 1 and it's disc 2 side 2. And disc 2 side 2 is the entire Garage Days EP on one side. So on top of all the music that they've got, obviously they got Garage Days at the beginning of disc 2. Well, Garage Inc. on vinyl is 3 discs. And the Garage Days EP is on vinyl. And I'm like, that's what I wanted. Now, I knew Garage Days was on vinyl on its own, but it also was packaged in with the Garage Inc. record. The Garage Inc. record was like $45, and Garage Days was like $25. And so I get that plus like 5 more sides worth of music. I'm going to get it. So I put it in there, and it starts, if I remembered correctly, didn't we talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah, it skipped through, it skipped in Helpless. And
Dude.
then it skipped again, I think, it might have skipped again in Last Caress.
It skipped in Helpless. It skipped in Last Caress. It skipped in The Small Hours. It skipped in almost every track, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I pulled up, Die Die My Darling, and it's skipping there. And I pull up Astronomy, and it's skipping there. And I'm so mad because every single disc, every single side of every single disc was skipping. I thought, and it turned out that so I was like, okay, maybe there's something wrong, because I had played other albums. They played fine. So I grabbed another album, and I popped it on. It seemed to play fine. So I was like, well, my Garage Inc. must be broken. I don't know what's going on. So maybe it's a bad press or something. So I return it. I get another one. It skips in the exact same spots again. I go return that. I bring it back. So I've been doing like purchases and returns thinking that the discs were messed up. And then it turns out, nope. What I ended up doing was I also got into some of Jimi Hendrix's posthumous material. There were demos he recorded near when he died. Those demos were turned into albums like very soon after he died. A couple of them were done by Eddie Kramer, who was his main head engineer. And then after that, like 4 or 5 years later, another guy was doing like a bunch of other shit. Like they got MCA Records, who owned Hendrix's stuff, got a guy named Alan Douglas to do a bunch of Hendrix's stuff. But Alan never worked with Hendrix's music. He was more of a managerial type dude. He knew jazz guys. He knew jazz musicians. Well, when he worked with Hendrix's stuff, he started pulling other musicians to add parts to Hendrix's music to flesh out the demo songs rather than release them in their purest format and try to mix them. So he goes, hey, let's get a drummer Hendrix has never used. Let's get other guitarists to fill in like those parts. And so there were albums that came out, a couple of them in the 70s and then one in the mid 90s. But then I had only heard that album from the mid 90s that had all that stuff. And so I was getting an example of hearing the original demos as they were. So I pick up a couple of older ones, and then I pick up a brand new repressing because Hendrix's family has gotten back the rights to his music and went and re-released those albums from the 70s remastered. And I'm like, cool. So I pick up a remastered copy of one of the albums. I put that one on my record player, and it skips. And then the wheels start turning. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. I think there's a problem with my record player. So I buy a new needle. And after that, I set it up and it starts working okay for a while and then it starts skipping again. I'm like, son of a bitch, what's going on here? So then it starts hitting me, maybe those records that I was buying and returning, there was nothing wrong with them. Maybe my record player's been broken this whole time. So we go and get a brand spanking new one that's got like all of the crap fleshed out, like all of the preamp stuff and everything is already done. This thing's like a $200 piece, comes with its own deal. It's fully automatic. So you could put the record on the platter, close the top, hit the start button. The thing operates the arm on its own. So I don't have to worry about accidentally dropping the needle or anything like that and damaging these records.
Which, by the way, was another one of the reasons that my parents had records when I was growing up. It was one of the various mediums that we had to listen to music.
Yeah.
My parents had records when I was growing up, and I remember the big record player that they had. My dad still, that one he doesn't have anymore. My dad still has a like 6 foot long, 250 pound console record player from like maybe the 1940s.
Oh yeah, but that thing is built like a tank
in his garage.
Yeah.
That, by the way, that is. When I've already talked to him about it, when he dies, you're welcome to have that. He said he wouldn't mind you having it if you want to take it and fix it up at some point.
Me?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I ain't got nowhere I want to put it. And I sure as hell don't want to fix it up, but you're more the gear oriented, fix something and put it back together and that kind of shit. And he's like, you can do what you want with it. I said, can I give it to Mike? He's like, yeah, Mike can have it. I don't care.
Holy shit.
So yeah,
I would be honored.
You could have that thing.
Thank you. I did not. Wow, I did not.
You just gotta wait for him to die.
Oh, well, I mean,
hopefully it'll be a while.
Oh yeah, man. I'm not.
No bets on that. He's old, but still.
feels kind of awkward to be told that, and then just be like, no, yeah.
I mean,
look, man. I hope he lives a very long and prosperous life from this day forward. I do.
I mean, it's been a fairly long life. He's like 74.
That's like he could go longer, man. That's cool.
Yeah, and luckily he told me the other day that he has some roof issues. So he told me the other day that he's looking into getting somebody to take care of the roof issues, so he doesn't climb up on the roof himself. I'm like, thank you, because die of natural causes or something, Dad. Please don't die by falling off the roof, because I really don't want to deal with that one. I don't want to deal with you dying from falling off the roof. Dude, die from another reason. Don't fall off the roof and die, please. And he's laughing at me. He's like, all right, I'll do what I can. Like, I just don't want to deal with that, Dad. Well, I wouldn't want to inconvenience you. I love my dad. He's amazing. But anyway,
an epiphany about this. Okay, so the new one, I apologize for skipping this part, but so when we were out, we picked up the last. So I went out to Walmart. I can't believe it took this long to get there. I went out to Walmart, had a wild hair up my ass. I was like, you know what? I've got like 3 records that I'm missing. 3 Metallica records I'm missing from that collection. I want to get them. So we go and stop by Walmart, and I go over to the record section, and they're all there. And I'm like, shit. So we do that. And while we're out there, Tash mentions, it'd be nice to have like a record player in the living room or something like that. What if we pick one of those up? So we picked up one of the little Crossley suitcase ones because she wanted one for herself. And I was like, sure, do you want to get one of those? Do you want to get one of the higher cost ones? Do we not want to spend that much? How often are we going to be playing it? Like, we don't know what it sounds like, blah, blah, blah. So we pick it up just to check it out. And we will be returning it, but I took that Hendrix record that I initially played, and it didn't skip on the Crossley. The $50 Crossley it didn't skip on, but it sure as hell skipped on that pro-grade, direct drive Nutso Gemini from the 90s. And I was like, okay, so there must be something wrong with that thing, absolutely. I also did it with the Garage Inc. as well, and it didn't skip. None of the discs skipped on the Crossley. However, there's a lot of other things with those cheap little suitcase ones. The platter's not very big, so the disc wobbles, and it looks like it's almost like warping because, like, when you look at it, it looks like the disc might warp because the weight of the needle's on the outside of the platter, and then the disc is wobbling, so it could cause damage. So those little cheap suitcase guys, I mean, they're not great. None of them, even the $150 guys that they're suitcase ones, if you get a record player, get one that has a flat platter the disc can sit on.
And that was the discussion that night. It was going back to that discussion because I went to another one because I have something I do need to share from another one.
Oh.
But going back to that discussion, that was like I asked about one of those suitcase ones because I had mentioned to my wife that you had got one of the suitcase ones. She saw one. She goes, well, we can get one of those. It's only like that's $50. That's not much compared to this stuff. Cause she's trying to convince me to buy these records this night. One of the reasons that she was convinced was the first one of the Metallica albums she found was Load. And, Load is actually the first Metallica CD that I bought. It was when Load came out is when I actually became a Metallica fan. Now I had heard a bunch of Metallica before that. I had friends that listened to the Black Album when it came out. I wasn't into it at that time. I was listening when they were listening to the Black Album. I was listening to Bobby Brown and Mariah Carey. So I was not listening to Metallica then. I had a friend back when I was about, between the ages of 9 and 12, because that's when I lived at that specific house. He listened to, and I remember distinctly that his father had an original Master of Puppets vinyl. He listened to Metallica and the British one, the Run to the Hills guys,
Iron Maiden.
Yes, Aces High. He loved that. That's
cool.
Cool. Is that the name of the album or is it just the song?
I think Aces High is the song. I'm not sure if there's an album called Aces High.
But the song and whatever album that song was on, he listened to that all the time. And then Ride the Lightning was his favorite Metallica album. We'd be playing G.I. Joes, and he'd be having us listen to Ride the Lightning while we're playing G.I. Joes. So it wasn't my thing.
By the way, before we get into that, because I was going to look up Iron Maiden Aces High, and I've got Metallica's Load Wikipedia page up here. So I was going to look it up. The length of that album is 79 minutes and 4 seconds. So it was damn near
close.
The whole 80 minutes. Yeah, they did as much as they could.
But anyway, Load was my introduction. My wife knows this. Sarah knows this. She knows that, and it's still one of my favorite albums ever, period, and it's still one of her favorites. Even though there's a lot of Metallica fans that hate Load and Reload, those albums mean something. I have specific memories of those albums, and that's what got me into listening to Metallica. Specifically, I had borrowed the album back when I was a teenager. I had borrowed it from a friend because Until It Sleeps was the only song I knew, and I would just listen to it on CD over and over again while I was going to sleep at night. Just keep listening to that same song, and that's what I loved about CDs. As opposed to cassettes, you could listen to one song over and over, and it was great. One night when I was going to sleep listening to that, I didn't catch to start that song over again. And it went into King Nothing. And I ended up listening to King Nothing, Hero of the Day, and Bleeding Me. And by the end of Bleeding Me, I was a Metallica fan. It wasn't just one song. Bleeding Me made me a Metallica fan. And so that album has significance. So that was actually the second record that she saw, was the Metallica Load record. The first record that she saw that made her start this insistence to do this was something completely off the wall, unless you know stories about me, unless you know my history. What she found was, and I think this is the one that shocked you a little bit when I sent it to you.
Yeah.
She found Chipmunk's Greatest Hits. And this is the original Chipmunk's Greatest Hits. Half the album is basically covers of Beatles songs. The only way I like to have my Beatles is if the Chipmunks are singing them. The other half is just a bunch of different stuff, including the original Chipmunks Christmas song. The Christmas time is here. That song.
Yeah.
Okay. She saw this, and the story behind this is, when I was a child, I had a very treasured copy of, it was actually the Chipmunks Christmas album that through various means was destroyed. I won't go into all the details of it, but it did make me have a lot of distrust and bad feelings for the person who actually destroyed it. It also made me very understanding of there are consequences for all of your actions. So it did help at least teach me that, but not in the best way that you could teach somebody that. It scarred me very much. And my wife has offered to buy that every year when it comes out at Christmas time on CD. She's offered to buy it for years, and I refuse to let her buy it because it's still too painful a thing for me. And I'm somebody who really, really loves Christmas music. Like, I look forward to the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I look forward to that each year coming on the radio. I love that song because it's a Christmas song. Last Christmas that everybody doesn't want to listen to, I love that song. I love Christmas music. Christmas music is awesome. But the Chipmunks are the way I want my Christmas music more than anything else. Either Chipmunks doing it or Elvis doing it. One of the two. Well, depending on the song, Reba McEntire. Reba McEntire's version of Oh Holy Night, one of the best versions ever, other than Eric Cartman's. But anyway,
I haven't heard that one.
She saw this Chipmunks thing, and that was her impetus. Then she found Load, and she knew that if I was going to start this, I would have to start it with Metallica Load.
Of course.
And she found all the other ones. And so I was at a moment of, Mike's been collecting this, so I know I have, and that's why I'm contacting him, because I know he's my resource when it comes to these things. But it's
absolutely.
I don't know. I was worried. I even said to him, we go through all this discussion with these things, and my wife is basically just putting the things in the cart, and then we're trying to figure out ways that we can get get the record player, which record player. And Mike tells me this, his experience with this, these suitcase ones, because I believe I mentioned that. And actually, I didn't mention it to you. I mentioned it to the wife, and I mentioned it, a while before that you'd gotten one of the suitcase ones, and she said, yeah, didn't they get a suitcase one? Can't we get that? No, they're returning that because the thing isn't big enough for the record to sit on. And Mike said he was worried about warping and whatnot, and so to get one that's the right size. So there was one there. It's actually the same company that makes my microphone and my headphones that I'm doing this podcast on.
Oh yes,
and I was like, okay, maybe I'll look at this one. By the way, I love your response to the Chipmunks record when I sent that to you. Yes.
Yes.
And then I also sent you a picture of, this is for those of you who are wanting to become vinyl collectors, sent you a picture of a package of outer sleeves for the actual jacket of the record, plus inner sleeves for the individual records that are anti-static, because they're good to have.
Well, yes. The reason behind it is most records come in paper sleeves, but records are actually made of, they're called they're called vinyl, but they're not made of pure vinyl. They're made of PVC. PVC tends to gather static, and the crackling that you're hearing from your record players from your records, especially if they're dirty, that crackling is because static collects dust and dirt onto your records. And when you're playing the record, what you're doing is you're dragging a little elliptical needle across the grooves. As the grooves move, the needle is stationary, and all that dirt and that dust and that static will pop the needle. All that crackling that you're hearing, the popping, has to do with dirt and stuff that's got onto it. Anti-static bags, and it's also a very good habit you need to get into, cleaning your records before you play them as well.
Yeah, I need to get the cleaning stuff.
There is liquid cleaning solution, microfiber cloths that works well. I actually have something called the record roller, which is it's basically just it looks like a paint roller kind of, but not fuzzy. So it's a sticky roller. Like consider it's kind of similar to a lint roller, except it doesn't have paper that comes off. It's not like sticky fly paper, but it's a sticky roller that you apply zero pressure and you roll it across the grooves of the record, and it helps pick up a lot of the dust. But I got the whole thing in a kit that has an anti-static brush. So when you play the record, before you play it, you put it on the platter and you let the platter spin, like you lift the needle to where the platter starts spinning. And then you just place this anti-static brush on it, and it will help remove the static from the record so that you get as clean an experience in playing the record as you can. So it minimizes the amount of pops and clicks, and it makes sure that your equipment stays in good shape, because your needle will wear as you use it on records. But if your needle gets a bunch of dirt and gunk on it while it's doing that, it either holds it, or that dirt and gunk damages the needle, which will then in turn damage the records you're playing on it. So you don't want that to happen.
No. So I showed you the picture of the bags, and you're like, yes, you want those. And
the bags are anti-static.
That was full caps from you, and my response, yes, Sarah insisted. And then here's where it comes down. This stuff has basically all been put into the cart. And we're still waffling for sure on getting the player at this moment in time. We may wait. We're talking about waiting for later for the player because of how many damn records she's wanting me to get in this one sitting. And my response back to that is I feel like I just went down a big ass rabbit hole.
It's a different experience, man. It's a lot of fun. And you're gonna have that much more reason to do yourself a favor. You're going to start to get from the experience that you're getting from these albums, what you've gotten so far. Go back and watch Empire Records again, and you tell me that you do not enjoy that movie even more now. Knowing
I've always enjoyed that movie, and I don't know there's anything that can make me enjoy it anymore. But
now you're going to get more about what they're talking about, because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that banter in there.
I understood it. I understood it even then, because again, we are of the generation that we did grow up with, at least some of us did, most of us did, with our parents still having record collections and still playing records, or if not our parents, our grandparents having record collections. And so yeah, these things got put in the cart. My wife kind of pushed me into this, and I'm not saying I fought too hard. It was more of a do I really want to go down this hole with things? I've collected so many other things. I've been involved in. Do I really want to go down this one? And basically my wife put it as this. She described how and she used you as the example, because I've been showing her all the stuff that you've gotten for the records. You and I both love music, but we love it in a slightly different way.
You mean from each other, or from other people, or
from each other? Okay,
yeah.
We have a different way.
I can agree with that.
You have now when I say this, I'm not saying that I don't see the same side that you do, and you don't see the same side that I do, but you have more of a focus on the technical aspect of it.
I would say that I do. Then you do, yes, but that's just from my experience being a music producer. I look at that and understand the magic that went through the limits that were available. Like, this is why this is that on its face is the reason why I can turn around and enjoy a Beatles record or a Pink Floyd record. Like,
exactly.
There is
exactly.
a lot of people our age are really not that crazy about the Beatles or Pink Floyd. There are a lot of people that like them, but most of those people tend to be analytical towards not only the musical aspect of it, but much more the technical aspect of it. Those are incredible achievements in music technology, the way that those albums are made. But to the average listener, they're just hearing music, and some people hear Pink Floyd and it just wants to put them to sleep, and they don't want that in their music.
You said exactly the point here. You have that technical look at it more so than I do.
I do.
I have more of just what you were describing, the look at the music, just as how the music emotionally hits me. I'm not saying I don't see the technical side. I still have, I can't respect the Beatles for anything, but maybe they're good songwriters when other people do their stuff, like the Chipmunks. But I can see some of the technical stuff with Pink Floyd. Do I like listening to Pink Floyd? No, it doesn't move me. Am I going to buy Pink Floyd albums because of the technical portions of it? No, but I'm going to buy things that move me emotionally. Now, we have almost a reversal thing sometimes when it comes to movies, in that I'm a little bit more versed in the technical things of acting, maybe a little more versed in some of the movie things. Some not as much, but some maybe I am. And so I may see some things a little more technical in movies than you sometimes do. Doesn't mean you don't see technical. It just means I see certain things that you may not, because the same thing, you've had more music education, you've done the work of producing albums.
Yeah, that's your background, dude. That's that's absolutely your wheelhouse.
And her thing was just because Mike has the technical side of it, and he's that way in music, you have this other side of liking music, and this is another way for you to get music and to have music in a different format, different sound, different setup. And it's, it was interesting that she was so worried about, so concerned. It felt really nice for me that she was concerned about my love of music and my a desire to see it from a different angle, or her wanting me to experience it from a different angle. So yeah, we walked away from Walmart with a record player, which is, by the way, the same as your type, as you know, in the sense that you put the record on. You put the lid down, you push a button, and it starts. By the way, make sure you take off, anybody who goes and buys a new one, take off the little thing that's protecting the needle before you try to play a record on it. There's a little tab there that you just got to pull off. It's very gently, pull it off.
Yeah.
And then the needle will work. Otherwise,
be very careful.
The arm just kind of bounces a few times and doesn't do anything. And I made that mistake with one. I was like, oh, damn, what the hell's going on? And then I'm like, Mike said to read the instructions. I read all the instructions up until this point. I go back to the instructions. I'm like, oh, pull the thing. Oh, push the button again. Boom, music starts. And the first thing I do, of course, when the music starts is take some video and send it to you. The fun part was the other conversation that after I have this record player, it's a great record player. It does lack one thing that the suitcase players do have, which is its own speakers. You need to have something to hook this up to. And I won't go into the long back and forth banter of the various products. I wanted stuff that had pretty lights and looked nice, and also that I could get through various interesting means. Mike was trying to be a little more pragmatic about it, and so I went even a level more pragmatic than him. I'm like, well, I have this really, really old Optima brand receiver and some speakers. What kind of speakers? I don't know. They're really old. To which, this is the one part I will share. I love this part of the conversation. The picture that you sent me, oh God, where is it? Where are you? Yeah, I sent you pictures of the receiver. You're like, okay, yeah, it looks like that's all right. Mm-hmm. And then I said I had let's see. Is that stereo receiver the only thing you have? I said I have two speakers. Pick. You asking for a pick? You mean you want me to go upstairs? Because I was downstairs at that moment. I didn't want to go to the loft. But can you Google the model? Do you know if they're active or passive? To which my response was, I have no idea. They are super old.
I assumed at that point they were passive.
And to which he responds, "Are you fucking with me right now?" in a GIF. So then I send him pictures. I'm like, they're from a shelf system from the late 90s, early 2000s. They're like old RCA shelf system speakers. And luckily, once you explained to me what you meant by passive and active, I'm like, I honestly, I feel stupid because I should have just, I have guitars with active pickups in them that require batteries. In fact, one of my really nice ESP
that's
bass.
something I should have, like, that becomes kind of run of the mill speak in most music centric retail locations. So I kind of should have defined that a little bit more. So I do apologize for that.
My response was English, bro.
Right. And it hit me at that point. I was like, oh shit. Okay. I said a slang term thing. All right, fine. So what is this?
But again, I feel dumb because, like I said, I should have thought about my guitars. Like I said, my ESP bass right now, you can't hear anything through it because I need to replace the batteries for the pickups.
Right. Okay. So for anybody that may be confused between active and passive in the case of speakers, okay? If your speaker requires an amplifier, it is called a passive speaker. If you need to take your speakers and hook them into like a stereo receiver unit, like old school style, using speaker wires, and the speakers themselves do not plug into the wall and turn on with a switch on their own, that is passive. If they do plug into the wall, and you could just hook up like your phone to it, with a little cable, and you turn on the speakers and they have their own volume control switch or something like that, they are active.
Or if they're battery powered and have Bluetooth connectivity.
Battery powered, those are active. That means that they are active, or what people call self-powered speakers, quote unquote, of course. I say that because rather than having to pull from a power source from another unit that would power them so that they work, they have something, either a wall plug or a battery compartment or something that allows you to play them without having to power them using another unit.
Yeah.
So that's what that means, active versus passive speakers.
Now we know. So yeah, I like I said, I went even more practical and used literally stuff that I've had sitting around my house for 3 or 4 different house moves. I mean, I've had most of these things forever. And so hooked all that up. And today was the first day I got the opportunity to actually truly become a record collector and record owner by listening to the record. First thing that I put in was, of course, Load. And I started, because it was appropriate, I started at King Nothing and listened to King Nothing, Hero of the Day, and Bleeding Me as the first 3 songs I listened to. Through my record player as a new record owner, I have finally completed the I won't say completed. I've almost completed the hipster turn. The only thing that needs to happen is I need to start wearing pants and vests. Because I got the hats, I wear Crocs, I drive a Mini, I have a beard, I have gauges in my ears, tattoos that are visible. I vape. I don't think there's anything else that I need to do. I don't wear clear glasses. Ironically, I drink dark beer. So I've basically done everything that can be to be a hipster. The irritating part, of course, is that these are all like things that I like because of personal reasons, not because I'm trying to be part of a group. But apparently, according to listener Alex, who I talked to about this earlier today, that's exactly what a hipster would say.
Oh,
so
yeah, pretty much, man.
But
you were doing it before it was cool.
I finally joined the group of audiophiles that are record collectors. I mean, it's honestly, I will be completely honest. I never intended to do it. I was holding out, not doing it, not wanting to spend the money on it, and I'm still waiting to see if this was a ploy on the part of my wife to have me buy this and start collecting this, and there's going to be something coming down the pipe that she wants. If she does that, if that's what happens, because she's played pretty innocent through all of this, just making it seem like all she wants to do is good for me. Now she's not the sneaky type like that typically. Typically she's not very good at lying, which I'm grateful for. And she's not she doesn't usually play the long manipulation game. But if that's what this is, if this is the start of a long manipulation, that eventually she's going to be trying to collect a new thing, which, I mean, she did her whole Bath and Body Works thing. So, I mean, I don't know what else she's going to collect beyond that. Cause that's, I mean, she literally has, I'm not joking. She has, for every scent that they come out with for Bath and Body Works, they have like 3 or 4 different products that have that scent. You know, there's like a lotion and a spray and a gel or so. She has every scent that they carry, every female scent, women's scent. Because I won't let her buy the men's ones because I have my own stuff that I buy. she has every single scent. And whatever version it comes in, whatever thing it comes in for that scent, she has one of each of them. Some of them she has double of the ones she uses the most. Every scent. She doesn't even go there anymore because there's nothing new. She might go again at Christmas time because there might be some, if they release a new Christmas one that they haven't done before. She has all of them. So maybe she's feeling guilty for that. Again, maybe she's playing a long con on me. If she is, I actually will applaud that because this is a good way to play a long con. This is, I mean, I'll give her credit for that. I'll stand back. She will get the applause. But yeah, I am now a record collector too. So it's weird. It's strange. I still feel like I'm in the rabbit hole, but again, man, Death Magnetic sounded really good. The songs I listened to Cyanide, Unforgiven 3 and Judas Kiss. Those are the only ones I listened to so far from it.
Oh, okay.
And they sounded damn good.
Yeah, they do sound a lot better than the original CD release, which was pushed to hell.
I
love
to hear
how they
Unforgiven
fixed it.
3. That's why I put that on.
Oh, Unforgiven 3 is a fantastic song. Honestly, I really like a lot of the songs on that album. I really do. They're also very bare bones in their mix. I like that too. Like getting past the redlining distortion thing. When you listen to the songs on their own by themselves, I love mixes that are very dry and straight ahead like that because they're not relying on reverb or echo or a bunch of other effects in order to carry the music. It's literally just, you hear the guitars, you hear the bass, you hear the drums, and you hear the vocals as they were cut straight ahead. And that's what I love about it. It's very clean. It's, here's what the music is. We're not doing a bunch of extra shit. We're just putting the music out there and that's it. And I love that album because of what it sounds like.
By the way, on the I don't have Justice yet, because I need to get Ride the Lightning. I need Justice. I need the Black Album.
Mm-hmm.
I need Reload. I need Garage Inc. And I need the newest one. Whatever the hell is that?
Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to eventually need to get the S&M ones both of them because I will.
Oh, dude, have you seen the colors of the S&M records?
No.
Oh, dude. S&M 2 looks so fucking sick.
But my question is, do you actually hear the bass on Justice finally? Did they remaster it so you hear the bass?
No. And it is the same 2-track that was used originally. I think they do it for just integrity of release. I highly doubt anything is going to happen with that album that would... I don't think you're ever going to hear that album officially released by Metallica with bass. In what most people would desire to hear. I don't know, maybe if somebody gets a wild hair to do it at some point, maybe, but I highly doubt it. They just took the mix that was the 2-track mix, the original master tape 2-track mix, and they sent it off and had it remastered from that mix. It does sound good. It sounds great, but it sounds like it's the And Justice for All album as it was released, essentially. It's still Justice. Now,
it took me, because, records came back and had their resurgence. It's been for years now. It took me this long to get into it. But I want to officially state to you and state to anybody listening here, if they bring back another music technology, I will not hesitate to get on board with that one. I will go and get a player immediately and get on board. Now, I don't believe that they will bring it back, but if they do, because of the medium that the Chipmunks Christmas album that I lost, it was in this medium. And it's a medium that as much as I was around records growing up, and I eventually got cassettes and then CDs and whatnot, this medium was actually more important to me because my parents actually had in their vehicles a player of this medium. And the Chipmunks Christmas was one of a few of these that were songs that, they were ones that were bought for me that had my type of music on them. They weren't mine to like have in my room and have like my first cassettes were, but they, that's my music from the stuff.
Yeah.
8-track tapes.
Oh,
They bring that shit back.
I highly doubt that is going to happen. You know what, though? You know what? I will tell you this. I will say this just for the sake of it. I have seen a lot of vintage interest, especially in old tech, by like anybody younger than 40. There has been an interest in it. A lot of millennials and a lot of Gen Zers now are into that just for the nostalgia of it. Now, Gen Zers are into it more so for a lot of Gen Zers have an ironic culture where, you're looking at, acid wash jeans and mullets and mustaches are not because people like them and because they're cool. It's because they're ridiculous. The reason why they love the 80s and the reason why they love that style aesthetic or what have you is because it looks ridiculous on its face and they know it. So it is that lack of give a fuck that pops for them. And that's, whatever, man, to each their own. I'm not trying to knock it, but that's half the reason.
Something real quick.
What?
Let me be clear with something real quick. It's not, I don't have a beard because I think the beard is ridiculous. I have a beard because my face without the beard looks kind of ridiculous. So the beard stops the ridiculousness.
This is why I shaved my face like my own wife. I shaved my face once for an Elvis costume. I wore an Elvis costume for a Halloween show that one of my bands did.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
And I turned a lot of heads because nobody recognized me because I have a very round face and nobody recognized me, but I fit well with the Elvis costume aesthetic. And it was old Elvis, just to let people know. I definitely worked the costume as it should have been worn. But when I shaved my face, my wife literally earlier tonight told me that I am not allowed to shave my entire face again. Just because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't blame her. I don't like what my face looks like without the beard, man. I don't like it.
I've gone down to Van Dykes and goatees, and that's as far as I've gone down since I've been married. And each one of those times, it's because of having to look for a job or some specific reason. Otherwise, the beard is the necessity. And the wife is not happy when there's not decent beard present. She much prefers. She learned to be okay with the goatees and the Van Dykes, but no, she wants the beard, and that's. I grew up because my dad had a beard. So as far as I was concerned, once you become a dad and have kids, you need to grow a beard, and that's what I did. And so I've always had one. My dad still has one, and he'll have one till he dies. Hopefully not falling off a roof. So and hopefully I will too. But that said, like, tracks.
Yeah, I honestly at this point I don't know if it will see some kind of a novelty. I highly doubt it, just because of song lengths and stuff. Like I remember, my dad actually told me how much he despised 8-tracks. He was a big fan of Yes, and Yes was capable of very large, long, bombastic, progressive rock type shit.
That would be annoying on an 8-track.
Well, here's what would happen is the song would fade out and cut off, and then the tape would have to stop and then turn around and start playing backwards to play the other half of the song.
Yeah.
Where it would cut off. Whereas with most bands of singles, it's just like, okay, that song ends and then the next 3 songs are on the other track. Which, all right, cool. But 8-tracks are fucking weird. However, man, I don't see it necessarily. Like,
I know.
On a practical level, I see it not happening. But on a On this hyper nostalgic level, I do.
Well, and here's
it's
the
possible. It's so up in the air, right? Or at least it feels like it.
Here's the thing. I know where there's actually 2 8-track players.
Like physically, well, yeah, okay. Like like you mean like you own them?
Well, not yet. Somebody has to fall off a roof.
Oh my god!
I know where there's 2 8-track players, and I know where there's
scene.
about 28 track tapes. And at some point or another, I may not wait till he falls off the roof. I may just go steal it from him. You
Oh
have to
my
wait,
God.
but I may not.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
I love my dad. Anyway, yeah, my dad still has a couple of 8-track players and still has 8-track tapes. And he had them in the 2 cars that they had when I was growing up. There were 8-track players in the station wagon we had, and in his Cutlass that he had. Yeah,
Wow.
the Cutlass was the aftermarket one, as he informed me the other day. But
Not bad.
I mean, 8-track for me, that would be the nostalgia hit. Would be the 8-track thing. The records, again, my mother had them, and my father still has various ones. Nice collection of 45s and some interesting LPs, some really interesting ones. That I'm going to go, now that I have a record player that works, I'm going to go steal some of his stuff. But and he knows. But the bigger thing for me was the one I interacted with the most was the 8-track, because I was terrified as a kid of trying to start a record. That scared the crap out of me, to put the needle in the right place and not and those people that were able to tell where to put the needle to get to like the second song, not the first song, be able to do the second song, man, that's like wizardry and shit. That's what scared me the most. And I think that's one of the things that made me not want to get involved, was, again, having to be careful using the record player and worrying about damaging these records, and the realization that, man, you just put the record on there, close the lid, push the button, and it is good to go. I got to show 2 of my kids today, and just that Chipmunks one, for anybody wondering, the Chipmunks one is actually a colored vinyl. It's not just your standard black vinyl. Mm-hmm. It's a bubblegum pink colored vinyl. Bubblegum pink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like the brightest pink humanly possible.
That's cool.
My daughter just loved the record. She just wanted to take the record back to her room just because it was bubblegum pink. But yeah, I'm a record collector now, Mike. It's all your fault. Yours and Sarah's.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike.
Yes.
Where would people be listening to us talk about James becoming a record collector?
Well, you could be listening to us on our website, thexennialchronicles.com or zencron.com. If you don't want to type that much, you could also check us out at most major podcast platforms, including YouTube's podcast platform. Go to youtube.com/podcast and search for the Xennial Chronicles there. When you're there, check out our podcast in video format, which, it's still audio, but there's, I guess cool images or whatever and stuff that are along with it. At the moment, we're working on getting cameras. It will eventually happen. While you're there, make sure that you click like on the video version of this. So, you tell the algorithm that you like it, if you like it, of course. And then next to that, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribe to our channel, even in the search on YouTube's little podcast platform or on YouTube's own website as well. And also, James, next to the subscribe button underneath the video, there's something else as well. What would that be?
Okay. So here's the thing. I've been working, remotely from home here at my desk. And I hadn't had the record player set up yet. I don't have a TV up here yet. So I've been either listening to music through my iPod or watching a lot of videos on YouTube. And one of the places I've been watching the videos on YouTube, they actually use a different phrasing than what we use. And I'm just wondering, is their phrasing? They're a big company. Big company.
Who are you
talking about? They do tons of videos.
Who the hell are you talking about?
Watch Mojo specifically.
Okay.
They use a different phrase than we do. I'm wondering, is the phrase that I've been using wrong? Or is it just our own special thing and fuck those Watch Mojo people?
What are they saying?
They say ring the bell.
I mean, you could ring the bell. It doesn't actually play a ring sound, so you're just clicking it.
So mine's better.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way.
Oh, I do. I definitely do.
Okay.
So click the bell.
Make sure you click the bell and get notified the next time we have a podcast or video out. And I believe that is it on my end. Sir, what about you?
While you're there, please make sure to check out Mike's other 2 YouTube pages. One of which is his music page. Even though we did a bunch of music talk here,
We did.
he can go even more in depth. You should do a whole record, do like a record care video. Seriously, do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That's a good video.
Yeah.
Just you have to say that I recommended that you do it when you're in the video.
Okay.
Because I'm a super genius that has great ideas.
Okay. I
this
may
is
not
the-
say all of that.
You will say all of that. I will write you a script.
I believe that is my channel, sir.
Still going to write you a script. This channel is called Ruling Note Music. And again, it's Mike talking everything music. Stories about serial killers and non-surfers that pretend to be surfers, that kind of stuff. Gear information, just even
I think
even
he
rock
actually
bands.
I think he actually did surf, by the way.
What, the serial killer or the
No, not the
band?
serial killer, the band.
One of them might have. Anyway, all things music.
The one who knew the serial
that's where you
killer
wanna
did.
go. Huh?
The one who knew the serial killer did.
Okay. That's
Just telling you.
Of course it would be that one. So check out that page, like, subscribe, click the bells on that. And then announcement. I'm announcing this for you. We would have done the podcast last night, but somebody, I'm not going to name any names, Mike, was actually doing a new, hopefully I'm saying this right because I'm still old and don't know all these things. He was doing a new Twitch video for his other page. Am I right?
Twitch stream. It's a Twitch
stream.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a
I said
VOD
it wrong 'cause I'm old.
It's a VOD now, which stands for video on demand. You can see it there on Twitch's on the Twitch website for that page.
And that page is called Chronosode Games. This is
Yes.
Mike and his wife playing video games. It was originally supposed to be in chronological order of the story, not when the games are released, but I think it's now just playing video games and showing video of them playing video games and either doing badly at them or doing more badly at them and really bad voice acting.
I mean,
That's my
essentially,
understanding
this
of it.
last one was me being really shitty at playing trombone on a computer.
Oh, you did the trombone game?
Oh yeah, dude, it is so good.
That's wonderful.
There's so much more depth to it than just being a shitty trombone game. It's fantastic.
So, you want to hear about music? Ruling Note Music.
Yep.
You want to see anything about video games being played? Chronosode Games.
Yes.
You just want to hear 2 40-something guys talk about weird crap? Xennial Chronicles. That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's where you are. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll be back again, hopefully, next week.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.